In this video, we're going to be determining the distance between two cities. Before we get into that, let's do a little review about longitude and latitude lines. The Earth is approximately spherical, and the most common way to locate points on the surface is by using latitude and longitude. These coordinates are measured in degrees and represent central angles measured from the center of the Earth. The equator is an imaginary line, or circle rather, around the Earth that's equidistant from the North and South poles. Latitude is the angular measure of a central angle measuring north or south from the equator. And there are 90 degrees of latitude measured north from the equator and 90 degrees of latitude measured south from the equator. Now the equator has a latitude of 0. The North Pole would have a latitude of 90 degrees north, and the South Pole would have a latitude of 90 degrees south. So if we were to look at a diagram, we can see here the equator is this circle right here, our equator, and that from this point here, if I am going from my circle up to the North Pole, that's my 90 degrees, and I can do the same thing down here and get 90 degrees there as well. So if I was going to point right here, then this would be my latitude angle theta. All right, so let's talk a little about longitude. Now the lines of longitude are called meridians, and they're circles that pass through both poles, and they run perpendicular to the equator. By international agreement, 0 degrees longitude is taken to be the prime meridian, which goes through Greenwich, England. Thus, longitude is the angular measure of a central angle east or west of the prime meridian. The Earth is divided into 360 degrees of longitude, and there are 180 degrees east of the prime meridian and 180 degrees west of the prime meridian. So if we look at our diagram again, for longitude, let's take a look at our picture of Earth here. So I could say that here to here, these are going to be directly east and west of each other, these points, from our prime meridian. And our prime meridian is this particular point right here. I'll go down to there. So this first point is at 75 degrees west of my prime meridian, and my second point, let's do that again, and my second point is at the 90 degrees west of the prime meridian. But again, these 2 points, because they lay on the same longitude line, they are both directly east and west of each other. So let's look at how this plays into our example. So Seattle, Washington is located at 47.6 degrees north and 122.4 degrees west. And San Francisco, California is located at 37.8 degrees north and 122.3 degrees west. Since our longitudes are nearly the same, then the cities are roughly due north and south of each other. So using the difference in latitude, we can approximate the distance between the cities, assuming that the radius of the Earth is 3,960 miles, and we're going to round to the nearest mile. So Seattle is located right here, and San Francisco would be located right here. And so we're looking for our in between, right? The distance between the two cities. So in order to know that, we kind of need to know our theta right here. We need that theta value. And we can find that by taking our 47.6 degrees and subtracting San Francisco's 37.8 degrees, and that's going to give us a theta value of 9.8 degrees. All right, so 9.8 degrees. So our theta equals 9.8 degrees, and we're going to times that by pi over 180, so we're going to convert this to radians, and we're going to get approximately 0.17104. And now to find that distance, we're going to use the formula S equals the radius of the Earth times our angle in radians. And remember that we talked about the Earth having a radius of 3,960 miles. So I can take that value and 3,960, and I can multiply that by my theta, which we found is 0.17104, and that's going to give me a value that is approximately 677 miles. And so we can say that the distance between Seattle, Washington and San Francisco, California is about 677 miles.